Hello. I'm going to make a video here of building a hotel model. This is actually a video intended uh, for a class of 9, and here's what I want to do with this model. I'm going to start right now. We have some assumptions, but we're going to make a few assumptions first. The key points here, maybe I'll make a little page with, oh shoot. If I swear here, don't get mad at me. I'll try not to. Key points. Okay, we want to set up model assumptions, and the model. Be careful with model structure, and by that I mean I can't spell. We want to first put a timeline in. We have to make sure and get our timeline set up. We have to make our construction costs. Then we make our operating income, and finally, only after we're finished with that, oh, maybe after that we'll have some taxes, and then at the very end we'll do our finance. We'll have our financing. Okay, that structure is crucial now. Crap. I switched the calculation to manual. Okay, and then we also wanted to work a little bit with dates, date functions. We want to work a little bit with lookup functions, not VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP, please. Okay, and I don't think we'll make much sensitivity analysis on this one. We'll just keep it very kind of fundamental. Okay, so the first thing, if you could, what I want you to do is, okay, you know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to start with saving this as a if you have my little structure, I'm going to save this as a in real estate as an exercise, and we'll call this okay now, and I'm going to work through kind of the fundamental things. First, can you make the first 3 columns really small? And let's start by talking about some assumptions. Now, these assumptions should be all in a different color. Now, in setting up the assumptions, let's first put the construction costs, and then we'll have another section that makes the revenues, and then another section that makes the financing and all that. Now, for the construction assumptions, this is how big your hotel is, how much does it cost. Now, these numbers I pulled out of the air. Somebody from Africa gave them a long time to me. I apologize. I could have something completely wrong. Now, when you put these assumptions in, let's first be very careful and put a units. Okay, and so if we're going to, I think the first thing we want to put is a room. Now, if you want to, I'm going to show you some shortcuts along the way. the first shortcut, if you press Shift Spacebar, Shift Control Plus, you can insert a line. Now, most of you, when you insert a line, you'll just click on this and then go to Insert, which is totally fine. I'm not one of these people who has some silly rule against the mouse or anything like that, you know. Then we'll put number of rooms here, so we're going to make our hotel 80 rooms. My brother has a hotel of 14 rooms. Unfortunately, I helped him out, and I think his occupancy rate is about 3 rooms, one of which is what he has himself. Now, when we start these, if you press Shift Control 1, you get a decimal. If you press Shift Control to the left of the 1 with the little approximate sign, it takes it away. If you press Shift Control 4, you get a currency. If you press Shift Control 5, you get a percentage. I'm going to put it back to the original one. So this one, it doesn't have no decimal option. So we have this. So let's put our I'll put our total facility cost. Now I'll put this as USD per room, and then we put no rooms and USD per room. Okay, so we need to do that. Now, what I'm going to do is I tell you to keep it very structured. Sometimes I get things wrong. The very first things we really need to do is start out with our timing assumptions. Now, if you have ever heard me talk about this, a hotel or any is quasi-project finance. In fact, it's probably closer to project finance than corporate finance. And I think you look at a hotel as you would a relationship. You have dating costs, but we'll call those development costs. These are not very high. These occur before, so the development starts. Let's say, let's put a date here, and let's say that this is 112015, okay? Shift Control 3 changes the format of the dates. And let's put the development period. And let's say that's in, let's say it takes us 3 years to get the permits, to do all our work and everything else. Now that development period, the expenditures are not high, but they're very risky. It's like when you go out to dinners, the chance of this turning into a long-term relationship should be pretty small. And then after you have that, you have the land purchase and financing date. And let's put that as a date. But this date is not going to be input. We start with this and we say it's 3 years. So here's the formula. You can use eDate. Now when you have this, suddenly you get this. Don't type. That would be too lazy. Put the start date and then click on the number of months. Now, since this is in years, you multiply by 12, and you press Shift Control 3. Okay, and then after we put in the land, let's put the construction period. Now, here in a lot of real estate models, you might do everything quarterly. But we're going to do it in months. So if it takes about 3 years, let's say it takes 40 months. Okay, and then that means that after this we can put our temporary occupancy date. I don't know why we call it that, but that's the famous TOP date. This is a date. Now this time Why? Okay. Then we can use the E date again. Now for me, let's go through this dates. This date is like the engagement date. This date is after you've spent this. And then I happen to know this firsthand. My daughter's getting married. Somebody else starts giving you money for this wedding. I hope some places are not like that. I have to give all this money for the wedding, and then you have the occupancy date, or the date when everything really changes, when the project is finished. Yeah, your wedding's paid for, and now you better start earning money for yourself, I hope, maybe, or buying a house and paying off a house and all that. And then we put over here, let's put a holding period. Now this is where, if it was project finance, let's put this in quarters. Let's say we hold it for 5 years. 5 times 4, I think, is 20. Let's hold it for 30 quarters for some reason. So since there are 3 months in a quarter, we put E date, and we go to this one and multiply it by 3, I hope. Is that right? I hope. 4 quarters in a year, but we want the number of months. And this is our exit period, where you exit your relationship. Oh, you really should have a lifetime relationship and all this, but I'm being a little more mean. So this is your this is another date. It's essential to really start the assumptions with what's going on with the project. Now, then once we have this, how about we'll put construction cost and development assumptions, okay? And let's just put some development costs. You know, let's just say that's a percent, and let's just make that 5% of the total cost. So our cost per room was this. The total facility cost is this. Now, if you put equal, you could multiply it, of course, or PRO, product. Okay, and you can multiply it by that. Now, so that's our total. That's USD, and we have land cost. Now, when we go to this one, let's say I hate this. I want to create a shortcut key that makes it a decimal, but it makes it a you know, a format, but no decimal. There's no shortcut for this. You can press Alt H9. Alt H9. I hate that. I don't use that. So what you can do is you can make a little, go to, how about view thing. Whoops, go to macros. Now when you make a macro is like, oops, I'm sorry, when you go to macro, you can record a macro. That's like recording a video. Let's put no decimals. Now we have to come up with some kind of letter. I'm going to shift control O. So what you do is you type a capital O here, and then you press OK, and this is like your phone, your iPhone. That when you're recording a video, it records everything. And oh shoot, I did it wrong, because if I click on this cell right here, it's gonna make that part of the video. So what I'm gonna do is stop the video and do it correctly. I can pretend I did that on purpose incorrectly. So you have to be on that cell when you do this. And now let's record the video again. I hope we can, so let's put, what did we call it? No decimals. And we press, now this might not work, by the way. Press OK. and it says, oh, there's a thing already assigned. What you have to go to macros. Let's just delete that macro, okay? And let's make a new one, record the macro, call it no decimals, and you put O, and then we say okay, and then all we do, go to the home key and take all the decimals away. Why don't we press Shift Control 1 to put them there, and then take them away, and then when we press Shift Control O from now on, it will do this. So let's say our development cost is, why don't we put down here a total cost? Okay, and then here's what you can do. You can select this and press alternate equal. You could do alternate equal, a couple of others. And now when you copy down, please press the Shift key and Control D. You could also drag it down, but I hope you get just a little bit used to that. So this is 5% of this. And let's press up, Shift Control 1, but we don't like that. Shift Control Q. Oh, shit. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, great. All right. Just a minute. Okay, what happened in that last thing? I'm gonna when I multiplied this together, I had another file open. I guess with Shift Control O. Shift Control O just puts it back. Okay, sorry about that. Now, so those are now. The first thing is keep all of these assumptions. Keep all the timing assumptions in one place. Keep all of the cost assumptions in another place. Okay, and then why don't we have some general economic assumption? Now, one of the principles here is we want to make our models flexible. So what we could do is here is put year, and now let's start with year, and start with this year, and then how about we'll put this plus 4, okay? So we have different inflation rates. Let's say it's 0.5% for this year. And now Shift right arrow Control R. I have, if you've watched other videos, I have a Shift Control R. Okay. So this time we have we have a inflation rate that goes up. By the way, should show you where you could find information perhaps on inflation rate. So that changes over time, and we can put this as revenue inflation, and then let's put cost inflation. Okay, and perhaps we can start the same thing. So select this, go down, Control D, but let's say we have 2% and 2.2%, so we have a little bit of that. And finally, let's put our base interest rate, which could be the LIBOR or something like that, okay? And let's just say we have some variable rate debt, and that should correspond to the interest rate. So right now, what is it, about 0? Let's put 0.2%, but let's say it gets up to 1.5%, 2%, 2.5, and 3%. Okay, now we haven't done anything. I told you we should have made everything green. The assumptions should have all been green. Green. Oh God, blue, blue. Okay, now if you press F5, somebody showed me this ages ago. I love this little thing. Uh-oh. F5, and then you go to special. It will go to everything that's a constant if you click off the word text. And then you can just come up with a very nice blue color. You know, be careful with something that's fairly dark blue so you can see your assumptions. But what I'm going to do certainly is put some more. I'm going to put some more assumptions in and do this again. So now once you made the macro, you should have your little thing here. If you don't worry, you can go to view and macros and record macros. And remember, now let's put color. Okay, and let's press this as Shift Control C, a capital C. And what we're going to do is exactly the same thing. Press F5, go to special, go to constants, take off the text. It selects them all. Go to home and click on that nice color you just made and stop it. Okay, that means from now on, whenever we do this, it'll color them. So now here's the okay, and you know, why don't you in the very first column press Control B for bold. Okay, so we have a revenue. This is just a percent. That's kind of silly. And this is USD per room per day. Okay, we have to be a little bit careful. How about Shift Control 1? All right, and this could vary, but let's not vary that. Now but the occupancy rate, let's say we start with 60, but now let's just above this to set this up as something that changes by year. So for the first year, now this is not the same as the year of the model. So, and here's a little trick. You can press Alt-EIS Enter if you go really fast. So let's say it's at 65%, 70%, and 75%. I don't know, perhaps my brother's would be 20%. Oh, I hope he doesn't listen to this video. Shift Control 5 if you want to do that. Shift Control C. This one, you could have made another macro that adds a couple one. Now let's just say we have other revenues. Okay, and that's, I don't know, conference rooms and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's our thing. Now it's totally possible that this one you might have wanted to just Shift Control right arrow Control R. I press Shift Control R. That'll be explained to you a little bit later. Shift Control C. Oh, it stayed at. Oh, we should have first set it to off. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Now this is our staff. So now let's put under. Let's put operating expense assumptions. Shift Control O. Remember. Shift Control 5. And other costs is a percentage of salary, so we have some other costs. And now I'm not going, these of course could change for each and every year, but oops, so you know, maybe we should put the okay, so occupancy rate, percent per year, other is percent of revenues, number of staff and number, and average salary, USD per year, real. You know, whenever we put these, we almost, some people could say, well, these you should almost put, is this in currency terms, this, it's in currency terms at the start of the development period or the start of the 2015, we'll make it 2015. You could argue that that is percent of salary. Why didn't, okay, percent of salary, we should be, okay, so I don't know why we do that. Okay, so, and finally, now, before we get off of this, we need to, this will give us our CapEx, this gives our revenues, this gives our OpEx, which CapEx, revenues minus expenses, are, okay, and I should have put this. Okay, and then we can put tax, capital allowance, which is like depreciation and depreciation. Now I don't know, there might be some. So the first thing is, let's make a tax assumption. So this will be EBITDA minus CapEx minus taxes, and you know, I'm going to leave working capital out of this. You can look at another video for working capital. Capital period, and let's say that that's a year. Let's say that's 10 years. Shift Control 1, 10 years, and corporate tax rate as a percent. Okay, and now finally let's put some financing assumptions. I seem to have successfully got it wrong. Oops. I seem to have not put it in my right space here. Okay, and I just said, okay, let's have a loan to value for the land cost. Let's make that 80%. Let's put a repayment period. We don't need a LIBOR. And let's make this credit spread 1.5%. Okay. Again, we could put a thing here, Shift Control 1. And then let's put a construction loan at, how about 65%? And this time we're going to use a cash sweep, which means any positive cash flow will sweep. Let's say it takes 70% of the cash flow. That means we'll and we don't need this. And let's say this credit spread is a little bit higher at 2%. Okay. Okay, and then we put this in. Okay, and now we have our assumptions. Shift Control C, and I'm going to split this video up so you don't think you have to watch the whole horrible thing. Oh, I have some. Let's put some upfront fees. Okay. And let's make that, how about 1% and 1.5%. Again. And Shift Control C again. Now when you save this file, press F12 to save it. Make absolutely sure that you save it as a macro-enabled workbook. In fact, there's some kind of way you can do this automatically. I'm not going to do this. Okay, make absolutely sure that you save it there. So now we have our hotel assumptions. So we have our assumptions thing. This, I suppose we could put, you know, why don't we put this Control B, Control I. So Control down, we can look at different assumptions. Now I can press Control S. Now I'm going to stop this file, and we're going to make our stop this video, and we're going to make a second. I'm going to make a second video where we go through the dates. Okay.